Almost a year ago, back in August, I had my childhood Game Boy Color customized by Chris over at 8-Bit Aesthetics. And since then, my love for the system has been completely revitalized. And I have logged a lot of hours playing the games that I used to cherish in my younger years. I have also been thinking that as great as it is to be able to enjoy a backlit screen and customized looks of a handheld system while I'm out and about, when I'm at home, I wish there was just a way to play on a bigger, more comfortable screen. My eyes aren't as sharp as they used to be, and if I plan to grind out a multi-hour session of a game, I need a way to reduce eye fatigue as much as possible. Not to mention, I wanted a way to incorporate the vast selection of amazing titles from the Game Boy Advance lineup as well. I'm happy to say that I have figured out the ultimate Game Boy solution. Well, at least the ultimate solution in my eyes, using mostly original hardware that I had laying around. Here's how I pulled it off. Back in the early 2000s, Nintendo released the small square box called the GameCube, and it was a massive leap in 3D graphics, especially compared to its predecessor, the N64. Along with all the amazing titles released during the lifespan of the system, there were also some quirky accessories that were aimed at the handheld scene. We could spend all day talking about the various knickknacks, but the most critical of these used in my setup is the Game Boy player attachment. This little square platform bolts perfectly underneath the system and allows you to play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games through your GameCube. Well, almost. Bundled with each player came a software disc that actually allowed your GameCube to be able to read the format of code that the Game Boy games were written in. Without this disc, the player is just a chunky piece of hardware. Awesome. So we have the player and disc, so we're good to go, right? No way! This is the ultimate experience. We needed a way to take something great and make it even better. So because of this, I didn't even bother to source the included software disc. Not to mention that at the time of this video, the Game Boy player discs are going for nearly $100 US for the disc only. Instead, I decided to use that money to fund the accessories I need to utilize a new flavor of software. So I needed an action replay disc as well as a SD card adapted GameCube memory card. This combo allows me to install and run something called the Game Boy interface from Extremes. This free piece of software has quite a few improvements over the stock Game Boy player software. First up, it lowers input lag, which is the time it takes for your controller's input to actually output to your TV. Second, it allows the player to display a sharper, less muddy image. Unfortunately, I don't have a comparison between the two, but eh. Third, it allows you to have greater zoom as well as aspect ratio control to suit your television. Sounds pretty solid, but it's not quite ultimate enough yet. Part of the stunning visuals is dependent on what cables and/or upscaler you use. NTSC GameCubes here in the States don't natively support RGB video. So I couldn't just throw on a SCART cable like this one and plug it into an upscaler for the sharpest possible pixels. Which leaves us with a few choices. We can go composite and suffer from a dirty, muddy image. Nah. We can go S-Video, which is slightly better, but I feel we could do a little bit better. Or we can go ultimate and grab a set of Nintendo's very rare and very pricey component cables, like these here. This cable set will give us the cleanest possible video output without having to do major surgery or use adapter units with our GameCubes that just scale and stretch the image. Another great option is utilizing the higher end adapter units like the GCHD Mark II from Eon or the Carby from Insurrection Industries. But at the time of gathering parts for this video, I couldn't find any of these options in stock anywhere. However, I recently picked up a mini XRGB FrameMeister, which is where I plug in the GameCube's component cables via this D-Terminal 2 component adapter. So you would say that this absolutely cannot get any better. Well, my friends, I have one more piece of ultimateness up my sleeve. Part of the whole Game Boy experience is holding the handheld, well, in your hands. The GameCube controller just doesn't make a very natural replacement. The buttons are placed weird and I just don't like it. Luckily for us, Nintendo also made a cable that allows you to use your Game Boy Advance as a controller for ultimate immersion. Side note, some GameCube games even use it as a second screen. Previously, I thought the ultimate way to play these games was via the Virtual Console. After spending only just a few minutes using this new setup, I immediately knew just how much better everything was. The picture quality is absolutely stellar. Each pixel is razor sharp with no muddiness whatsoever. The sound as well as the input delay that had plagued my gameplay in the past using cheap scalers and emulation had been completely eradicated, leaving only precise movement and in-sync sound effects. This setup isn't cheap by any means, totaling over $800 if you had to buy the console, accessories, as well as the FrameMeister itself. And before the influx of comments blasting me on the price of my setup, I fortunately had the majority of what I needed already. This is more of just a fun experiment and truthfully is not the end all be all, especially with the rise of FPGA hardware emulation. But I couldn't be more pleased with the result. I can play for hours and not have any eye strain, and it feels just like I'm playing a Game Boy Advance, only on a big TV from the comfort of my office chair. So needless to say, this will be my go-to setup for the moment whenever I'm sitting at home and feel that itch to break out some Game Boy games. I want to give a massive thank you to Game Junkies here in Roanoke for helping me source the oh so hard to find GameCube component cables that I needed for this project. The gameplay footage in this video could not have looked as good as it did without your help. I also want to thank a fellow YouTube channel called My Life in Gaming. Corey and Tri over there have a very in-depth and comprehensive look into the Game Boy player that you all should definitely check out if you're interested in more detail on what we covered today. Links to both of those resources will be in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and if you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Follow the Facebook page, as I often put up pictures and even live stream on there fairly regularly. Also, let me know down in the comments section how you all enjoy playing your Game Boy games. With all of this being said, I will see you in the next video. See ya.